Star Citizen is one of those games that has a significant amount of potential, but has plenty of issues preventing it from being truly great. From server issues to game-breaking bugs, lack of essential gameplay mechanics, and even aggravating aspects where gameplay and realism seemingly aren't balanced well. There are quite a few that have been on my list for some time now. This is probably one of my more pessimistic videos, but there is a reason behind it. Today I want to dive into a topic that's been on my mind for quite some time. The 5 biggest issues that I have with Star Citizen. Now don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of the game, and I've had some incredible experiences in the verse, especially with my org. But like any other game that's still in development, Star Citizen has its share of problems that can really detract from the overall experience. So let's talk about them and explore some potential solutions that could help make this game even better. First up on the list is something that pretty much every player has encountered at some point: poor server performance. Whether it's lag, desync, or even outright crashes, these issues are a constant reminder that Star Citizen is still very much a work in progress. What makes this particularly frustrating is that it can happen during some of the most critical moments. Imagine being in the middle of an intense dogfight, or on the final leg of a long cargo haul run, and then bam, your ship starts rubber banding, or you get disconnected entirely. It pulls you out of the moment and reminds you that despite how far the game has come, there's still a lot more work to be done. Now, I understand that it's a very ambitious project, and server performance is a complex issue that isn't going to be fixed overnight. But I do think that there's room for improvement in how these issues are being addressed. The developers have been talking about server meshing as a solution for some time. And while it's exciting to think about how this could reduce lag, improve stability, and increase the amount of players in a server, it's also something that we've been waiting on for a while. It's imperative that as new features are added, there's also a continued focus on optimizing the existing systems so that the game runs as smoothly as possible. Alongside server meshing, better optimization across the board is essential. Star Citizen is already a demanding game, and as more features are introduced, the strain on both servers and players' hardware is only going to increase. Focusing on optimization doesn't just mean better performance. It means a more consistent and enjoyable experience for everyone playing the game. Then there's the issue of striking a balance between realism and gameplay. One of the things that makes Star Citizen unique is its attention to detail and realism. However, sometimes it feels like this focus on realism can get in the way of actually having fun. For example, item banks having no character sheet, which forces us to access an entirely different UI to equip our character, cargo loading and unloading taking far too long, or forcing players to respawn back at their last imprint location can sometimes make all of the different screens and required preparation feel more like a chore than actually engaging gameplay, and really take a lot of time away from the players. Now, I'm all for depth and realism, but there are moments when these systems feel more tedious than rewarding. Instead of enhancing the experience, they can slow things down and remind you that you're playing a game that's still figuring out the right balance. It's not that these features don't have a place, they absolutely do, but there needs to be a middle ground where realism adds to the experience without making it feel like a second job. On the flip side, some elements of the game feel too gamified, and that can be just as jarring. Take salvage, for example. While it's fun to strip the hulls of derelict ships and work towards earning credits, the way that we fracture and disintegrate ships isn't as detailed as what most players imagined. And there is the possibility that they didn't make it the way they wanted to because they were limited by the tech that they have currently. But there's still often a disconnect between the immersive universe that Star Citizen is trying to create and making the various gameplay loops make sense, but also be fun for the players. To me, it's all about striking the right balance. Star Citizen doesn't necessarily need to sacrifice its realism, but it should focus on making sure that these systems enhance the gameplay rather than detract from it, and vice versa. Some obvious solutions would be to make certain things like the inventory system more gamified by adding a paper doll in the item banks so that players can equip their character, allowing players to pay to have expedited cargo loading and unloading, and implementing a respawn mechanic that allows players to respawn at a nearby station, which would still be a painful situation, but significantly less frustrating. Providing these options could help cater to a broader audience without compromising the game's core vision. At the end of the day, Star Citizen is still finding its footing when it comes to balancing realism with fun. And I'm hoping that with continued feedback and iteration, the developers can strike that perfect balance. Now, the third issue that I want to talk about is NPC performance. NPCs are a huge part of what makes Star Citizen feel alive. But right now, they're a big reminder that the game is still in development. Whether it's glitchy behavior, unresponsive AI, or just generally inconsistent performance, NPCs can detract from a seamless experience. This is particularly noticeable during missions. There's nothing more frustrating than setting up for an important mission, only to have the NPCs glitch out by falling through the map or failing to respond as they should. It takes you out of the flow of the game and serves as a reminder that we're still dealing with an unfinished product. NPCs are supposed to be the backbone of the game's universe, the characters that make the world feel populated and alive, by outnumbering players 10 to 1. But when they don't work properly, they do exactly the opposite. Improving AI is no small task, but it will be imperative for Star Citizen to reach its full potential. We need NPCs that react to their environment in believable ways, that can interact with players dynamically, and that don't constantly remind us of the game's unfinished state. The developers have already made strides in this area, but there's still a lot of work to be done. Now, one area where I think NPCs could really shine is through a more dynamic reputation system. Imagine if your actions in the game actually affected how NPCs treat you, if they remembered your past interactions, rewarded you for your loyalty, or even held grudges if you crossed them. This kind of depth would make the NPCs feel like more than just set dressing, and would add a lot to the overall experience. Now, hostility for reputation was introduced in 3.23. This system could very well be what solves this aspect of the game, but there is no clear indication that it's actually working or enabled, which makes me think that it's not done yet. As Star Citizen continues to develop, I'm hoping that we'll see NPCs evolve into the kind of engaging, dynamic characters that can really bring the universe to life. It's not going to happen overnight, but with continued focus, this is an area where the game can really improve. Next on the list is the economy and reward system. Right now, Star Citizen barely even has a basic foundation that would make for an interesting economy. Sure, you can earn money by completing missions, trading goods, mining resources, or salvaging ships, but beyond that, there's not much depth. The game needs a more complex economy, where your choices should have real consequences, and where there's more to strive for than just earning credits. This is something that really stands out to me because it feels like a missed opportunity. Now, we do have CIG working on StarSim, or Quantum, or whatever they're going to call the economy system. But we haven't heard much from Tony Z in a long time. And I'm hoping that during CitizenCon, they'll unveil the actual economy system. But until it's actually in-game, we currently don't have anything. Star Citizen is building this vast, interconnected universe. But without a robust economy, it all feels a bit static and meaningless. Imagine how much more engaging the game could be if the economy was truly dynamic, if prices fluctuated based on player activity, or if certain events in the game world led to shifts in supply and demand. This would give players a reason to engage with the economy beyond just grinding for credits. And it's not just about the economy, it's also about the rewards you get for playing the game. Right now, the rewards are pretty straightforward. You earn credits, and that's about it. But what if your reputation with different factions or NPCs actually had more meaningful impacts? Maybe you gain access to unique missions, special items, or discounts that you couldn't get any other way. This would make the game feel more rewarding and give players more reasons to keep coming back. For me, a more robust economy and reward system would not only add depth to the game, but also provide more long-term goals. Once you bought the ship that you want, there needs to be something else to strive for. Whether that's building your reputation with a certain faction, investing in the game's economy, or unlocking rare items, these kinds of goals would keep players engaged and give the game a much-needed sense of progression. Now, progression is a term that's come up often lately. And with the latest Inside Star Citizen episode of Asteroid Bases and Contested Zones, it seems like they're adding rewards in where you can only get it at certain locations. And this is what the game needs. Actual, tangible rewards that you can't get any other way outside of playing the game, advancing your rep, and unlocking secret or hidden locations. By focusing on creating a more dynamic economy and a reward system that goes beyond just earning money, Star Citizen could offer players a richer, more engaging experience. This would also make the universe feel more alive, with every decision having a real impact on the world around you. Now, rewards and progression is something that I've been wanting to talk about for a while now. So if you would like to see a video on that in the future, let me know in the comments below. Finally, let's talk about money sinks. Right now, the main thing players spend their money on is ships and components. While buying new ships is always exciting, there needs to be more variety in how players can invest their hard-earned credits. Without more options, the economy risks becoming stagnant, and players might find themselves with little incentive to keep earning. This is something that I think is crucial for the long-term health of the game's economy. Without sufficient money sinks, players accumulate wealth with nothing to spend it on, leading to a situation where money starts to lose its value. Ships are great, but they're not enough to keep the economy balanced in the long run, or keep players engaged. I'd love to see more diverse money sinks in the game. Things like making various ship components have more variations on their bonuses that they provide so that there's less focus on meta builds and more emphasis on outfitting your ship for different type of missions or different playstyles. Or even crafting that could allow us to mine or buy resources to craft armor, weapons, or components that have their own unique bonuses that you can't simply buy just from vendors. Now, this gameplay loop also does need to have the ability to craft high-tier items, so that the lower entry tiers are stuff that you can buy or craft, and the higher tier items you either earn via mission rewards, reputation, or high-level crafting. These kind of options would not only give players more to spend their money on, but would also add more depth and personalization to the game. For me, these kinds of money sinks would help stabilize the economy and give players more long-term goals. They would also create a sense of ownership and investment in the game world, making it feel more like a place you're a part of rather than just a playground. Plus, it adds another layer of strategy and depth, which is always a good thing. By introducing more varied and meaningful money sinks, Star Citizen could ensure that its economy remains vibrant and that players always have something new to strive for. It's an important step in making sure that the game remains engaging and rewarding in the long run. So there you have it. The 5 biggest issues that I have with Star Citizen, and some potential solutions that could help fix them. Now, I really want to hear from you. What issues do you have with the game? Do you agree with my points, or do you have other ideas on how you would want Star Citizen to improve? Let's keep this discussion going in the comments below. And if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to stay updated on all things Star Citizen, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps keep this channel going. If you want to support the creation of these videos that help you stay connected and up to date on everything going on in the game, then consider becoming a member and get new updated loyalty badges, priority replies, and exclusive member-only channels in my Discord. And if you missed what went on in the verse last week, then you'll want to check out this video. Fly safe, pilots, and we'll see you in the next video. Have it go.